The topic we have is benefit management for project in action. So we had some discussion previously when we'll have more question to go through. So before we jump in, do you want to recap the topic?
Well, yeah, it's one of the, I think, most important topics for the future also because benefits are quite closely related to values, and values become more important in project management to deliver values in the long term. And benefits is a means to do that. And actually, I'm writing articles in a scientific way for my university on this topic of benefits management because it's also not only very important, but it's also a little bit fuzzy for many people. So if you are a project manager and you took care about your costs and your schedule and your scope and the quality and everything, and then suddenly somebody comes, okay, please do benefits management, the first reaction is you shrug your shoulders. And actually, yeah, it's maybe for project managers, it's harder to accomplish than it is for program managers. So to make this distinction again, because program managers, if they look at the standard of PMI, benefits management is a big part of that standard, and it's very much explained. It's also explained in the point that we have benefits management, and sometimes, and there's a paper on it, we also talk about benefits realization. Is the same thing? This paper says yes, but I say absolutely not, because benefits realization is to make benefits being created, to make the benefits management is more of that. It's not only identifying benefits and being aware of them and putting them into a planning state, but also once you have delivered the benefits, making sure they are sustained and they are transitioned to operations after the program ends or the project ends and are continuing to deliver value as time flows. And one benefit, let's say a benefit is a bridge. It's the output of a project to build a bridge. But the benefit is that you can use the bridge to cross a river and you save 2 hours of commute time. For example, then this commute time is saved in the first hour, but also after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So the value adds
Stay.
up, yeah, but the benefit still stays the same. But it has to be maintained, sustained, and so every bridge, as we know in Germany very well, has to be maintained. Otherwise, it will be broken down. So for the story about the bridges, in Germany we have a big infrastructure problem because a lot of bridges break down and even fall into the water. So it's really crazy. And other bridges we have to close, and highways are closed because of that. And these bridges were maybe built 50 years ago, or 60, 70 years ago. It's not so long. On the other hand, we have old cities where we still have Roman bridges, and they are 2,000 years old. They are standing strong. And so people are saying, oh, what the heck is it? Yeah? We should be more developed
Yeah.
and have better quality as the Romans had, but we don't have it.
Look, the example is perfect. Build a bridge. And building bridge is one thing. Until the commuters are using it, that's the purpose of bridge is to shorten the time for the commuters and also maybe put a toll. So you want to earn some money out of that. But if you have a toll, the commuters, the traffic may not use the bridge. So the benefit may not be realized. One of the project can be part of the program to encourage the traffic to start using the bridge by giving them some incentives, by giving them some kind of rewards, by more they cross, more they use, and more benefit. So eventually, at the end of the day, we like to achieve the benefit, whatever method we have to use. And then once you achieve, then it moved to the operations. So they sustain not just 10 years, 20 years, 150 years, it should be. The
Exactly.
benefit can sustain for many, many years.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
the guys who built the bridge, who established the benefit, they sometimes they close down the program because they have created the benefits and the intent is there. And still they have to hand it over to somebody who is
Yeah.
maintaining it, who is owning it, who is making sure the value is being making transparent and being transferred to them. Yeah.
So look, guys, if you are interested to learn more about benefit management, sustainment, you should download the PMIs, the standard for program management. There is a big chapter, domain itself called benefit management domain. So a lot to learn from that. If you are preparing for PGMP, what I'm talking about, And even if you're not preparing, download it as a member of PMI, you can download and you can learn from this, any of the PMI material so that you can continue to learn from them. So that's the one
Mhm.
advantage of being a member of PMI. So my first question for today, organizations often struggle to measure intangible benefits such as customer satisfaction, innovation, and strategic positioning. What practical approach can leaders take to measure these benefits effectively?
Yeah, that's often a thing. As a project manager, we create products, and products are normally tangible, like a bridge. You can see it, you can touch it, you see that there, but the product itself is not really the benefit. The benefit is it's used. So what you do is an intangible benefit like customer satisfaction, like innovation, reputation of the company. Then you have to somehow use proxy metrics. So if you see that this bridge or the reputation that the bridge is giving to the city where it's built is increasing, maybe you can see it's by the amount of usage of that bridge. People adapt to it and use it, and maybe if they even stand on it in the evening and look at the sunset, then you see that bridge is accepted, and it's a positive feeling that people have if they see the bridge, if they use it, and so on. So to make intangible benefits measurable, there are several levels of measurement. So the most interesting measurement is financial measurement. If you can put a financial value on the usage of that, which is hard to say if you have a reputation or customer satisfaction. Does customer satisfaction translate into financial benefits, additional revenue, profits, or whatever? But before you come to financial, is it even quantifiable? So can you put a number to it? So like how many times are people looking at the reputation of the Sydney Opera House? How do they like it? Do they smile? And maybe count the smiles of people who are standing opposite of it and looking at it and like it, and maybe buy a memorability and take pictures with it and go home for that. So that's quantifiable. But it's still not the direct measurement of the reputation of the Sydney Opera House. It's a proxy. It's somehow you have to make sure that the proxy you're using is very close to what you are trying to measure in the intangible thing. And if it's not even quantifiable, so if you cannot count the number of clicks in a photograph doing that, is it even measurable? And measurable means that you can say it's yes, no, or in between. The order that you can have an order. It's
Mm,
good, it's bad, that you just have this. And even before measurable, it's about is something observable about this reputation. So, how do you observe reputation? And that directly can be done by talking to people and saying, "Do you know that? Or do you like that bridge, or opera house, or whatever?" So these are the four steps of metrics: being observable. Can you observe something? Is it measurable on an ordinal scale? Could be just that you can put in order that what the perceptions of people are about it. Is it quantifiable? Can you put in real counts or numbers? These are cardinal numbers as opposite to ordinal numbers. And is it financial? So can you put a financial figure on it? So these are all possibilities for proxy metrics, and business people most like the financial measures. Start small, start with observing that thing and say, "Oh, okay, what happens if I observe this reputation? How do I do
mm,
that? What are the symptoms I'm observing? What are the signs I can maybe count or just see if they are positive signs, negative signs about something?" And then you have maybe a measure for reputation, which is an ordinal measurable measure, even if it's not financial yet. Maybe you can refine that and make a proxy from the proxy and so on. So intangible benefits, it's hard, but you have to think hard about it, how to make them measurable.
yeah. So one example I can think of, if you are working on improving the brand of your organization, for example, yes, you're putting lots of advertisements, TV advertisement, digital marketing, lots of things are happening. But how do you know if it is working or not? mean, you can say, okay, I will run some net promoter score or some surveys or something. But again, that's very not, it's not always correct. But I can see, okay, indirectly I can calculate. One thing I can do, number of visit to your website. So before this campaign and after, do you see any growth, any trend going upward? Previously, they were, let's say, 1,000 hits per day. Now you start getting 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 hits. And that's indirectly, it is because of the campaign you have been running for some time.
Yeah.
So it may not be direct, but sometimes we have to think about indirect calculations. One other thing I can think of, by having faster database access to the database. You have database, it is taking previously taking 60 seconds to get the data. Now it's giving you in 2 seconds. Yes, you can measure this, but it's improving the productivity, data accessibility, but is it improving the employee satisfaction survey or
Yeah.
something else?
Well,
So,
this is a good example of quantifiable improvements in the benefit. If you reduce the access time from 60 seconds to 2 seconds, yeah, it's at least a efficiency metrics, and you can even go further. So you say, okay, not 2 seconds, but let's say milliseconds. Yeah, in the end, that's very quick, and it should somehow translate into a better service and maybe in financial
application,
benefits. Yeah.
exactly.
And what you talked about, the Net Promoter Score, yeah, we often use that, and it's a typical measurable metrics, but it's ordinal because it's a perception of people, and you ask them, and really maybe you can show them improvement on that, but it's not really something tangible you can measure. The measurement coming out of surveys when you get the people's, will you buy the product again? And then you have a percentage for that, yeah. What you also can use, because the question is how to make intangible things measurable. What we often use is that we use some models like a balance score.
Hmm.
We look at the customer, the internal improvements, the financial things, and how do we learn? Do we that is reusable and that makes further activities more efficient? So this is something, or what we do in business more and more is this, that we use these environmental and social and governmental measurements. And then you can look at standards. There are standards about it, and you can draw the metrics, how to measure them from these standards. Or what we did before is a triple bottom line, when we all had profits, people, and planet, and we looked at the impact on all of these, and so we can have a triple bottom line indicator and metrics which we can improve. You can make intangible things into more feasible measurements. You
Yeah,
can also do what you often do is you combine the quantitative, when you want to have numbers, quantifiable things, and qualitative. And qualitative is when you ask people for their opinion and their feelings about a certain thing, and if they feel proud of the Sydney Opera House. So if you go to the Sydney people, maybe the level is 9, and maybe if you go to the Perth people, it's still 8. But if you go, let's say, to Chicago, maybe it's 2. And that's a good sign that it's not objective, maybe that's a metric, but it's dependent on who you ask and how close they are to the reputation.
exactly. And if they're just talking about the Sydney Opera House, if they never heard about Sydney Opera House, how they will know about it? So anyway, so there are different ways. So we need to see what is the intangible benefit we are capturing. How can we measure? What are the methods? So try to do some thinking, innovative thinking. There may be some way, indirectly or indirectly, we can measure it. Not
Yeah,
maybe number, but as you talk about number of smiles. So sometimes you have next to the, when you're exiting, you put three things: smile, smiley face.
yeah,
How many people are clicking in the smiley face? That means
yeah.
they're happy.
So
Anyway,
if I'm in a program and I have maybe 10, 15 benefits to track and to develop, yeah. So I think there's a reasonable number. It could be much more, but maybe
mhm,
only one or two benefits could also be the case. But anyhow, if you have a number, let's say 10 or so, then it's helpful if you don't put the burden of measuring benefits on the program manager alone, but you establish clear benefits ownership. So there is
ownership. Yeah,
some person in charge of looking at that benefit to understand it, to track it, to measure it, and all this stuff, and to be delegated this kind of activity and this kind of thinking. This also makes it more spread around the team, that people understand. If I want to listen to reputation, maybe ask this guy who is a reputation manager here, benefits manager.
So more actually is not just program managers is owning the benefit relation. This program manager is the person who create the environment where the owner of the benefit can realize the benefit. You create
Yeah.
the system, new product, and then hand over to the person who going to own the benefit relation going forward. So they have to do whatever they have to do
Yeah.
to own it, maximize it, realize it ongoing basis. You can create a new machine, but it's going to be used by the factory. So the factory manager or director and the general manager is the one owning the benefit relation of that.
So it would be a good idea to have the benefit owner as part of operations, who is owning it later and creating the value out of with these benefits.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you have to make sure that they are also integrated into the program governance model, that they understand how benefits are being tracked and monitored and sustained in this program, because
Yeah.
that should be somehow aligned between the benefits. And also some benefits, and I think we come to that later. Often we see a strategy being broken down into a strategy, goals, and targets, and then these targets are objectives are aligned to a program or a project, and then this project is supposed to deliver a benefit. But what about these synergies between programs and projects, where sometimes benefits come out not of the program itself, but out of the interaction, interdependencies between these components of the
Yeah.
program? And this also is something when a benefits owner understands where his benefits come from. If they come from synergies, so that's a totally different way of thinking about the benefit than if you just look at one project, bridge building project. It's very clear. The bridge is only a benefit if it's being used and usable.
Yeah.
And so what has to work together is not only the bridge, but also the motorways leading towards the bridge on both sides. Without them, the bridge is useless. It's not a
Yeah.
benefit. It's only if the whole thing is workable, if the people understand there's a bridge and they can access it, only then through this synergy, the benefit will
Yeah.
be coming out of it.
Let me move to the next question. What role should PMOs, project management office or program management office, plays in benefit management, and how can they ensure projects stay aligned with strategic value rather than just delivering milestones?
Yeah. A PO is hugely developing, and PMI bought PMOGA, and there are a lot of researchers and consultants now talking and certifications talking about PMO. Are you offering
PMOCP.
a PMO
I
certification too?
am. I am actually. PMI invited me to run their pilot program when they were releasing the new material for PMOCP last year, June, July. And then since then, I have conducted many PMOCP programs. So a lot of people already gone through the certification. And so far, I'm maintaining 100% pass rate. That's, and let's see how far I can continue. But yeah, it's a good, interesting certificate. We do talk about benefit management, especially when you're talking about large complex projects. The PMO can be responsible for many aspects. Benefit
Mhm.
management can be one of the areas. They track benefit. And especially idea is project program will be closed, but somebody else has to keep an eye on the benefit delivery ongoing basis.
Yeah. I'm doing my DBA, so my doctoral thesis right now, and I'm doing it at the Swiss Business School, which is a university in Zurich, Switzerland. And the reason why I choose this school is that they had a professor, which name is Robert Joslin, and he is, as far as I know, one of the only scientific researchers talking about PMOs. He created a private company, AI PMO, and so they did some standard searching. They have very big books about all the features of PMOs, and it's research based, and that's what brought me to that Swiss business school. Now he left the school after that. And I'm still working on my thesis, but my thesis also was not really focusing on PMOs, but PMOs was it's a sidekick anyhow in project and program management. So to your question, what role should PMOs play in benefits management? And the basic thing is you have a project management standard that is applied to all the projects and programs maybe, and the standard should include how are we doing benefits management in this? How is benefits management integrated into project governance? Not only how benefits are being created, but not all benefits are planned and then preconceived. So sometimes you run a program and there's an emerging benefits coming up. You recognize an opportunity and then you have to make the decision, should I include that into the program? Is it an extension to that? Maybe yes, maybe no. But this decision should be supported by the project governance system, steering committee, sponsor, whatever you have. And maybe you have a portfolio board which is also looking into benefits organization and benefits structuring. So we already talked about that benefits being not only outputs or results of projects and programs of components, but also benefits coming out of the synergies, out of the dependencies. So that's one other factor. So even if you have two programs and they're doing something, and maybe you identify something that's in between, and because those two programs are working and delivering something, now you could create something bigger, or something extra, which would be a benefit for the organization. This is also part of the portfolio management, that they identify such kind of emerging things that then could be added to the portfolio. And the latest thing is, I think if you look at strategy alignment of portfolios and of programs, in contrast to tactics, to projects, to which are planned and controlled, strategy itself is dynamic. Strategy itself might be put on paper, fine, but then when you implement it, you will find out, okay, no, better this way, that way. So a strategy is not as fixed as a project plan. So you have to feed back into strategy if there is something new, like this emerging benefit. And this, then strategy will change. The priorities and strategy will change, or the goals will change. Some will be going away, some will emerge. So there should be a strategy owner on the corporate level. Maybe there's a strategy board or a C-suite, even often the CEO or the chief strategy officer, or they are called, who are owning the strategy and are running and maintaining the strategy in that it is emerging and developing and improving. And even in some cases, if you have disruptions and catastrophes or what, COVID, then you are pivoting, which means that you have a strategy which is in this direction, but then you will find out, okay, we have to change totally direction, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, whatever, and then that's pivoting. Yeah. And this is the result of big disruption, which we also experience in the context of our world all the time, like now with the war against Iran and the closure of a lot of strategies, let's say from the German chemical enterprises like BASF and others. They were dependent on the continuous delivery of oil. They need to produce other stuff, plastics or whatever. And now this is going down. So what are they doing? They have to pivot because one big assumption is breaking away, and for them it's a big disruption. And yeah, in Europe, we don't get oil from Middle East right now, but China is getting oil from Russia, even from Iran. And so big chemical enterprises in Germany, they already moved to China with factories. And so they have a more secure supply chain in China than they have in Europe. So this is an example how strategy is dynamic, and a PMO has to monitor that. And this task of the PMO is often forgotten. And so the PMO is not really driving the strategy, owning the strategy, that's somebody else. But the PMO can support this person by monitoring and by making this dynamic more manageable.
PMO is a very loose term as well, used for different organization, different purpose. But if you look at the trend we're moving towards, PMO is becoming strategic partners in organizations, strategic partner. They are As you mentioned, some places they actually start playing the role of a benefit, monitoring the benefits. The
Yeah.
program has created the benefit, transition has been done, and making sure the benefits are tracked. And if not happening, why questioning them, and maybe train them for some reason if they don't have proper training at all. So
Yeah.
many roles they play in order to make sure the benefits are delivered and they are aligned with the strategic value and remain aligned even after delivery, making sure they are aligned.
Well, I fully agree that the PMO is related and involved in the strategy. Some call it the guardian of strategic value. If somebody is monitoring and looking for that. But I think it also has to be clear that the PMO is not running the organization. The organization is run by the C-suite, by the CEO,
Yeah,
and strategy is on this level. And so, but
yeah,
strategy cannot be held into the head of one person, or even you cannot imagine that there is a strategy department, which often still is, and the strategy department is working without knowledge about what is happening
yeah, yeah.
with the implementation. So the implementation of strategy and the monitoring of it and the changing, developing of it, there is a role for the PMO to make this more happen.
Exactly. All right, let's move to the next question. From your experience working with organizations globally, what are the most common reasons projects fail to deliver the expected benefits?
I think we have to come back to the mindset risk, so that we have a mindset how we are dealing with things. And if that mindset is very project oriented, product oriented, then we are looking at risk as a danger, and we are looking to contain risk and to mitigate it and to understand it, instead of looking at opportunities and looking at emerging benefits and all of that. So I think projects fail because the projects are driven out of the mindset to contain risks, fear of failure. So we say 70% of projects fail. So nobody wants to be in the 70%. So they fear it. But on the other hand, we have these investment bankers and these venture capitalists. They are fine with 95% failure. Now imagine that. That's a difference in mindset. And so I read about this richest man in Japan. So he is the owner of Uniqlo. Do you know Uniqlo? The clothing company.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's the richest man in Japan, actually. And before he was successful, he failed many times. And that's one of his mottos. I failed 9 times before I was one time successful.
Yeah.
And that's a mindset you don't find in project managers so much, because they want to have no failure at all. So they are afraid of failure. So that's one thing. You have to change your mindset to be open to understand, okay, you will fail, and even failure is a component of success, because without,
Exactly.
and that's again a difference between projects and programs. In programs, if they take it seriously what they are doing, they are defining good and realistic benefits, because that's part of the process. How you build, you start a program, you're looking into benefits identification and benefits analysis, and then you develop a plan how to realize them and all that. Mostly that's not done in projects.
Yeah.
How do projects get benefits? Well, they look at the business case, because somebody before the project is the front end. They have developed the business case. This has been approved, and if you are lucky, you find a good list of benefits in the business case. So this is what we expect out of the project in this case. But in a program, it's part of the program management activities that you develop this kind of benefits, and not only develop them, but also maintain the benefits register as it develops, as it becomes more clear what the benefit is, and maybe new benefits and whatever. The poorly defined unrealistic benefits are one of the reasons why projects fail. But they are also
Yeah.
one of the reasons, if they are well defined and they are realistic, it's one of the reasons why programs can be more successful than projects, because
Yeah.
they inherently do this kind of stuff. We already talked about benefits ownership is also make very, it's always in our environment, we have accountability principle. So make somebody accountable of that benefit. Benefits ownership,
Exactly.
that helps a lot if you have 10 benefits and maybe 5 benefits owner, which somehow own maybe not only one, but several benefits, and then let them take care about the details. And it's a day-to-day work. So if you as a program manager try to do that, you are overwhelmed with what you should do. Lack of business engagement is also a reason. If you don't involve operations, if you don't involve the users that will use your benefit system, your program result in the end, yeah, maybe you are building something that will never be used correctly. We have seen that with many, many ERP implementations. SAP, I was implementing SAP for a company across Europe. So it was successful because we had a clear C-level guidance to do that. And the C-level guidance on the European integrative view was we want to make countries comparable. So we use the same system and the same metrics and everything. We establish them through using SAP. And before that, every country had its own accounting and whatever system. And then they had one. Did the countries like that? That standardization? No, they didn't, because they become more transparent, and they couldn't use any black money anymore. They couldn't lie so easily. And being able to look into the financial results of a country organization from the European organization is mandatory to be able to be in charge of it and to understand the risks that are coming up and understand where we are even standing. Transparency is the point. So, yeah, there are a lot of reasons, but it's not really understanding what benefits are and taking care of them is the main reason.
Actually, it's a very good point because many PGMP students, when you're talking, they have no idea what benefits. When they said this is a foreign language to us, they do talk about the benefit in the business case, but there's no accountability around benefit delivery, sustainability. That's left to the sponsor, how track and how. So that's one of the big things. You are becoming program manager, even the project manager. More and more trends are not just delivery. Okay, delivery is important, on-time delivery, but until the user start using the product as it should be, they have not realized the benefit. So there has to be a focus on, okay, we're delivering, but at the same time, we're providing required training, required guidance, hand-holding, and encouragement. So they actually
Yeah,
use the new system, and when they use the system, then only they will benefit. And when they use it, they will talk. I have an app
yeah,
for PGM,
yeah,
PPFMP, and all those apps. But if you download an app and if you pay and you don't use it as it should be, and you may not get benefit, you may not get the result you're expecting in your exam. And if you don't, you rather talk negatively. How I, as a program or project manager, approach or encourage the user to use the system as it should be. So if you use it and you share the data, you feel happy, you pass the exam, you're excited, you tell 100 people and write on LinkedIn, I use this app and I got benefit out of that. So it is kind of a responsibility of project and program manager to ensure you know what benefit to deliver and you have a plan to deliver, realize the benefits.
yeah. And it's much easier for the program manager to do that because the program manager can define a new project which is called, let's say, hypercare or whatever.
Yeah.
So the support after go live. If the users are supposed to use it and the CEO is expecting some reports and how it's being used and how the benefits are, and they don't get it, so whom do they ask? The
Yeah.
users use it. I don't know if that system can deliver these reports. But then you have the hypercare, you have the people who designed it and who can help the users understand the users correctly. And I call that, these are the change management project parts. And these are, when we talked about value out of project is not visible when the project ends. It's only visible maybe a year after the project ended. So what is the result? Or even beyond that, if I look at that, rollout in Europe of SAP I did. A country was live, and you guess what? Everybody, management and the users, they were in panic at the time of go live. And then we closed the project, we went home, another project. That would not have worked. We have to have there a not only a transition, but we also have to build up a sustainment plan, a reporting and a support, and maybe a
Mm.
refinement of the system we developed.
All right. So looking ahead, how do you see benefit management evolving with the rise of digital transformation, AI, artificial intelligence, data-driven decision making?
Yeah, I think what we still see today with the introduction of benefits management to projects, which I think is not good. It should stick with programs, but still we see in the project and even the programs static business cases. So somebody develops a business case, maybe the program itself that would be fine, and then the business case is on paper, maybe a document of 30, 50 pages, and then it's forgotten. No, a business case has to be developed into a dynamic value tracking, if you want, dynamic benefits visibility. And as I said before, the strategy is not a piece of paper. A strategic plan strategy is a dynamic thing in contrast to a fixed project plan. So I think we will come to that we have this, maybe get rid of the strategic business case into a more dynamic, ongoing value tracking. This also is reflected on a more philosophical way. So if you know about Chinese philosophy, Taoism, in Taoism, it's all very dynamic because you look at the moment, you see what the environment is, and then you decide what to do. And this is how you develop your path forward. Forward means you make progress against the
Yeah.
measurement again. But do you have ever success? No. There is no success in Taoism because success would mean that you planned for a target and you strive for the target and then you achieve it. You say, okay, oh, I'm good. I achieved it. I'm successful. That's what projects are supposed to have, success, because they are pre-planned and preconceived and they have a target. Programs can, in many cases, progress without achieving a pre-planned target. Okay, there are expected benefits in many cases, but the longer a program takes, the less important the expected benefits are, and the emerging benefits or the changing expected benefits are more important and more relevant to not the success of the program, but the progress of the program. As long as the program delivers benefits and as long as these benefits deliver additional value, it will go on. And you can see the
Yeah.
most successful programs in the human history are really long-term events, like the social systems in the UK. The UK invented healthcare and social care and all that stuff in the Middle Ages. And why did they do it? Because they want to make sure that the people don't make a revolution, that they are calmed down, that they are taken care of. So it was a countermeasure. Even in Germany, and this was Middle Ages, it's still running. We have national health system right now. It's changing. It has been changed for the Middle Ages, but it has been born in the Middle Ages. And if you look at Germany, Bismarck in 1870, he developed the German healthcare and social care systems, and they are still existent today. They even survived the disasters of two world wars. And still, if you had rent in 1870, you still are eligible to get exactly this rent today, despite two world wars. And so it has been preserved because, yeah, these kind of programs started with a certain expected benefits, but they developed benefits. The expectations toward these social programs is different than it was 100 years ago.
Yeah. I think this is a good era to talk about when you do artificial intelligence. We have data driven, you have lots of data and you make decision based on that. The artificial intelligence can or AI-based system can help you to look at the trend, doing some trend analysis. Are we on track to deliver the benefits? how much benefit are we going to grow up from here based on the data. The number of customer buying your product is increasing, pipeline is increasing. That shows, okay, that means the benefits are going to be. Sometimes you may not see the benefit, but looking at the trend, you may say, okay, you know what, we are not there yet, but look, the trend is showing me, which is coming from data
Yeah.
and the AI, or is actually going to be looking very good based on the number of hits on the website, based on many things happening. So that's where utilize AI-based system or use the data, as much data you can, and then to assess, understand the benefits, the trend in benefit, or failing in the benefit. Why you can also see why benefits are not coming along. You can use some system, ChatGPT or some other system, which can help you to understand why we have not achieved the benefit. What else can we do to ensure the benefit sustainment is there? More benefits are coming.
These trends and benefits are also what I would say. You have a program and a benefit system that is leaning towards a vision, making sure the people are somehow satisfied with their environment. So that's the purpose of social systems. And then as long as you can identify trends, you can see if that leaning is in the right direction.
Right
If you're
direction.
making progress towards that vision, maybe you never reach the vision, but you're making progress towards it. I think that's something that program managers must understand. So the program normally goes far beyond one lifetime.
So, look, this was a good discussion, and it's good for people who are interested in benefits, delivering benefit, or preparing for PMP or PGMP exams. They will also benefit in portfolio management. So, even if you're not preparing, make sure you download PMIs and standards, number of standards. Even we have a standard for benefit management as well. Even standard for program management, you have lots of information about benefit. So download this document, especially the PMI members, free download, and learn from that. If you have not done the certificate, make sure you get your certificate, learn better way of doing things, not just delivery, focus on benefits.
Yeah.
All right, Thomas, thank you very much for your contribution as usual. It was another great discussion, lots of sharing, lots of examples, lots of experience. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dara.
Yeah, so I will see you again very soon. Till that time, bye.